Hi, I'm here again, and what we're going to do is some perspective drawing. We're going to learn the principles of how things get smaller the further away they are from the viewer, and how we can draw that using lines and making sure that things are straight and actually make sense. And I'm going to show you some little illusions that show how things can easily not make sense. So here we go. Okay, so you may know already that if you look at a train track, it may look a little bit like this. So the lines of the train are coming towards you. And that's called the principle of perspective. Things get smaller the further away you are. And not only that, the things get narrower the further away you are as well. So the further away from the camera, the narrower things are. If I move my arms closer to you, just keeping them parallel, they look as if they're getting bigger, and the gaps at the foreground are wider than those at the front. So if I do that again with parallel lines, then that's how it works. And it comes into everything that we do in trying to make realistic looking images. So the first thing to do that makes this a little bit more make sense and not as a just a pyramid is that if we put a line across it, and we see that in doing that it gives us a little bit more of a clue as to what's going on. If we put say a tree on there, then maybe it would look, and I'm just going to draw a simple tree, that will give us a little bit more of an impression of something going into the distance. And further away it is, the smaller the tree will appear. And all these things give us a clue as to the depth of a flat image, something that's flat, and it actually opens up and becomes three-dimensional. And the reason that is because we're being given clues, and our brain always tries to make sense of clues. So the first thing that's the noticeable clue is actually that line there. And we'd maybe call that the horizon line. And so that's our first clue, and we know that really far away from us things are tiny, 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 really infinitesimally small, and the closer they are to us, the larger those things become. So for instance, if that was a box, we could just draw a box here. That would look like it's just a line on top of a box at the moment. So what we'd do to make the box look more three-dimensional is join up from a point, any point on that line, and I'll explain what that is in a moment, but any point on that line shows that the box is receding into the distance. If I put some more lines on, then we get that happening. And we can do that with any shape. We could do it with a tall shape like this, and that could join into the distance. And what we do for further back is make lines parallel to that. So we're going to go there, there, that's parallel to that, that's parallel to that, and on the top that will be parallel to that. And straight away, and what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to drop that line. Oh no, I'm going to imagine that that's coming down there, and we'd be able to create a shape. And if you notice, anything that's underneath that line is visible. If I drew the box over the line and then join the corners up, can you see that I can't see the top and I can't see actually what's underneath it? Okay, I will just hatch that in just to get rid of the horizon line. And the only line I need to do to give it some depth is that. So we end up with that sort of shape. If it's above us, then the lines all join to that point again. We've got a horizontal line there, so I'll draw another horizontal line here, and I'll draw another horizontal line going up like that. And notice another thing, on this side I can see this side of the box, and on this side of that point I can see that side of the box. So, and I can also see, as you can see, underneath it. And there's a reason for that, and I'll go into that now. That's because the horizon line is our eye level. And things disappear at this point because that is we call that the vanishing point. And there's a reason for that. We're looking at things as though we are standing directly in front of this point. And this is where our eyes are looking towards. So I'm actually standing perpendicular to the distance. My eyes would be here if I was looking on this one. And so that's the first principle, is that we have an eye level and a vanishing point. And any shapes, any corners of shapes recede into the distance. Okay, and I just want to show you a little trick about what happens there. Say I'm going to draw the eye level, and sometimes it is the horizon. First of all, I'm going to put a vanishing point on, and I'm not going to put it directly underneath that one. And I'm going to draw our path or our track coming away from there. If it was our train track, we would have lines horizontal, or it may be a path. And you'll notice that this is just by lots and lots of experience that things get smaller into the distance, so the distance of this distance is getting smaller the further away I get. Now, if I'm going to draw a person standing on that path, or I'm just going to put the person next to the path. Let me say I'm putting the person here, standing here, the feet are there. Let's just draw the person. The eyes are going to be level with the vanishing point. And that's because I'm imagining I'm standing on the ground looking at that. My head is going to be this big. But let's just have another look at a person standing on this path here. The head's going to be a little bit bigger. I'm going to draw, just shade in the shape of the person, and that person's going to be that size like that. And if there's a person standing here, maybe at the other side, on this level of this part of the path here, the person's going to be a little bit more detail, but put some hips on. He's going to be this big. And so we can get this idea of depth from the way people. Now, do you notice that it's the feet that have moved up and it's not the head? Just going to draw on a post-it note. I just want to show you something. I'm just going to draw the person, because it's a little bit sticky. Draw the person on there, a particular size. So I'll draw a person there, maybe walking or something. And then I'm going to cut it out. And I suggest you have a go at this as well. Let's see what happens. So this person is the same size as that one there. Okay, so we can put them two talking to each other. Nice, nice, nice. Now, if I put their head above the line, if I say I put that person next to that one there, can you see how big they look compared looking at the image? And if I put the person next to that one, I haven't changed the size of them at all, but this now looks incredibly smaller than the other one. So the idea is that we always make sure when drawing people on a level ground that the eyes are on the eye level, and that will give us a perfect view. So if I'm moving that person from there, who's tiny, and I just move them up and put their eyes on the same level, then they look as though they're part of the picture. And that's one of the key principles. Things getting smaller into the distance, but it's the floor that's moving up, I suppose. And the eye level is crucial to knowing about what to do. Thanks. We'll move that on in the next video. Take care.